41 seconds left to go before everything starts. And I can introduce you to my assistant producer. That's Paul right over there. Um, you guys I'm sure you all like Paul, right? Um, it's pretty cool. 19 more seconds left. And those of you who haven't been paying a lot of attention in the last 6 months or so to see what I've been doing, we're back in full force tonight. We're going to play some chess, shall we, without any more to do? Um, go over here to the Lichess, right? And play a 5-minute game. How does that sound? So this is going to be great. I'm going to switch us over to gameplay. I'm missing my web utility here for some reason. Hold on just a second. I got to get myself appearing here. Kind of bogus when I can't see myself and you can't see the gameplay either. Okay, now where's the gameplay? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, now I just got to play, right? Okay, so, whoa, that game got aborted. Well, that was all right. I mean, we didn't lose any points there. I always say an aborted game is just as good as a drawn game. Um, and it's maybe even better than a than a one game because I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way, but when you have a one game, it means the other guy loses, and in the drawn game, everybody's happy. So, should we try this again? Let's go back to the Lichess, and I'm gonna pick your new opponent and see what happens. For those of you who haven't noticed, I do have my new Steinitch. Um, they're called they're not exactly called Steinitch. They have a German name similar to Steinitch. Sennheiser. These are Sennheiser. It's a Sennheiser microphone. Really, really high end. Well, I kind of moved my bishop out there in a bad position, but it doesn't really matter. We'll figure something out. I might just bring the bishop back and just kind of like screw him around a little bit because he might have been planning one thing and now he'll have to plan another thing. It's always hard to switch your plans. And this is a King's Gambit. For those of you who have never seen a King's Gambit before, they're actually quite interesting. It's an interesting type of game. Now he can come down and take this. If he does, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. I mean, he'll put my rook in danger, and the most he can do is go over there and take it. Put his knighty whitey, we call him, completely out of play. Um, but I don't know if I want to lose my rook. Why don't I just bring him over here and make him move back? Okay, now, um, gotta figure out something smart here. I don't know. I guess I'll move him up there. Well, that doesn't look too good for me. I'm gonna have to move that knight back out of there. Oh well, at least I weaken its pawn structure there. Because now I can move this pawn up and I can take that pawn, that bad pawn. Need to spank that pawn. That's a bad pawn right there. Oh, that gives me a chance to lift my rook right up out of there. I'm gonna do that. My rook will come in. See, now he's attacking my queen there. Then I can't really lift my rook so well. But if I bring my queen back here, it'll be pretty safe. Okay, now he's coming in strong against this rook. Should I save him? Maybe move him over there just for good measure. Then I can move this pawn up next time and boom, come down there with my rook, with my bishop. I mean, okay, now my bishop is really strong against that thing. Come on, come on. What's he gonna do? Wow, he did that. I don't know how this is gonna work. We'll just see. If it doesn't work out like I'm planning, we can always play another one. And that's kind of one thing that happens. You lose one, you play another one. Okay, this will give me a chance to get my queen and my rook doubled on that last row over there. We're doing okay on time. See, now he's going to take that and attack my knight, but I'll come over here threatening a checkmate. Yeah, why not? I don't think he's going to. I mean, he could take my rook, lose his queen, take my knight, get a rook and a knight for a queen, but not many players are going to really do that. Oh, but he did. Haha. Okay. Best thing I can do is take there. Okay. Probably should have done that a little bit different. Now that I see that he actually went for the... I'm going to have to block that pawn at some time, so... Now... Now what? I don't know. Just see what happens here, I guess. Could lose this game really bad. He's got really a really advanced pawn there. I mean, kind of like screwed up this game. Big royal time, but all I can do is try to get. I'm gonna act like I'm attacking that pawn a second time, but I'm really moving my queen out of the way so I can move this pawn up. I might be able to win on time if I start taking advantage of things here. I'm gonna move this pawn up. And if he takes that bishop, then I'll take him. Things are not looking too great for the old, what do they call me? The old Steinitz. I wish things were looking a little bit better, but will he try to take that pawn? I don't think so, but he might. I really don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. I'm in big trouble right now. And he's in big trouble too if he's not careful. If I move this pawn up, he's going to have troubles. Well, actually, if I move that pawn up, he won't have any trouble. But it's nice to think that he might have troubles. I'm just going to pretend that maybe I have a strong position. Being optimistic here, like that. What can I do now? Did I screw up or what? I guess I did screw up. Can he move that? I gotta come over here. It's the only way to protect from that pawn from queening. I gotta keep my king on that knight because when he checks my king, I gotta be able to take that pawn. Okay, this is tough. I only got 34 seconds. I might just lose this game on time. Instead of what I was thinking, I was gonna lose this game in another way. I got 28 seconds left. Is it possible that I could just go down here and win something? I took his advanced pawn there. Oh, wow. I didn't even see that. Okay, well, I'm going to have to resign. Didn't see that. But that was an interesting game. We lost a little bit of points there. It wasn't so great. Well, what do you say? Should we play another one? I used to have so many viewers. I used to have like more than 1,000. What happened anyway? I only got one now. They're not even chatting with me. Well, he's a kind of a lurker. Oh, I'm a lurker too. I'm a kind of a lurker twitcher. So I'm gonna try this again. Go back to this and let's win this time, shall we? Let's try to be a little bit more optimistic. We need to preserve our optimism right up to the end and beyond. As long as we can do that, I think we'll win. Because it's hard to lose when you're optimistic and you continue to be optimistic. Okay, I'm going to castle already. I'm not going to. The last game, it was weird. I kind of really screwed up big time. I kind of like lost on time instead of by material. Hmm. If he takes my knight there, that's fine with me. And now by moving that pawn up, I protected this pawn. I don't know. I kind of like this position. What am I going to do now? This bishop's not doing me anything. I can trade him for that knight if I want to. I still can. I'm bringing my queen up here because I'm planning to take his knight. His knight is still pinned. I'm going to develop my bishop up to here. Is he thinking about castling king side, queen side, maybe? He doesn't know what he's going to do, does he? Okay, I'm going to bring this over. Mm-hmm. My whole idea was to get rid of that knight, so and I was just kind of waiting. So now I have to do it. Hmm. I'd like to advance this knight up out of there, but I can't. What's he doing? I don't see what he's doing, but I'm going to move the knight back and maybe lift a rook up to here. I don't see where he can really attack me very much. I'm going to already advance that pawn. I kind of know from experience that it's good to advance that pawn up at a certain moment. Hopefully, Okay, now at this point, I'm going to just put some pressure on him and see what he does. I don't see what this queen and this bishop are going to be able to do too much with through this pawn. My pawn would be, if I had a pawn there, he could take it, but his pawn he can't take, which really helps me a lot. Oh, now he's going to move my pawn out of there. The only thing I can do is go like that and hope to get some action on that last. Oh, that was interesting. I think he's developing and threatening a number of things. It's better that I bring a rook to this position and be ready to retake here. Oh, I kind of screwed up there. This will be like an exchange for a rook against. You see what happened there? That was bad. Did I lose a rook completely? No. This might not be too so bad. I mean, the exchange down, but maybe I get some advanced pawns out of this. We'll see. Okay. It's attacking that pawn, and I defended him. This is not looking good because I'm down in material. I hadn't lost. I really don't know what I'm doing here. Just trying to get a little bit of action. A minute and 42 against 3 minutes. Don't know if I'm going to have enough. Okay, go ahead and take that pawn, put me in check. I'll move my king over. Um, I'm kind of screwing up here because I need more time. I don't have enough time. Only if he like really made like some huge mistake or something. I gotta block that and take him. He's got an advanced pawn, but what can he do? Hmm. It's coming up more. I gotta come back here and then go over to here. At least my rook will be on white and he can't displace him with his black bishop. And I've got 52 seconds left. Only if he really blunders, and it's always possible for a person to blunder. And I don't know how the blunder would be in this case. But like I say, it's always possible. At least my king is really nice on white. On the white square there with his black bishop. And he did that. Crap, I didn't think he was going to do that. Okay, well, I can do this and Maybe do something. I mean, if he blunders now, 32 seconds left. This is not working out very good for me. I'm just gonna bring my king up here and see. This is kind of dumb, but well, like I say, the only thing I can do is hope for some sort of a blunder. And that kind of like lost the game for me. I'll do the chivalrous thing and resign. Wow, can't believe that. Ah, losing points. Okay, let's summon up our courage and really win one, shall we? Me and my one viewer, let's do this and we'll just chat away a little bit here during the game while we're going to beat this next person. Come on now, let's really concentrate. That was kind of cool. It looks like that pawn is hard to protect, but who knows what he's going to do. Gonna have to bring the bishop back. Maybe he'll blunder and lose his queen. Who knows? Yeah, he didn't. I gotta bring the knight to here. That's the only thing. I can force his queen over to here. I don't know what that good that does me. He brought his queen over there himself. So now I'm just gonna develop a pace. I mean, he's got one pawn there. I don't know. Oh, I saw something I could have done. Crap. I could have won. I could have came up here before and really flabbergasted him. I missed it. Really could have flabbergasted this guy. Okay, come back here. If he takes me there, I support my pawn really nicely. So it's actually not too bad of a position on my part, I don't think. Okay, and now I'm threatening checkmate. Whew, this is not bad. Just look at the bishop and the knight. Like the bishop coming down to the square is going to be checkmate if he not doesn't pay good attention here. In any case, I can come down here and force his king to come up. Well, you see, that kind of like screwed things up for him because I can take him en passant. And now, that was good for him. I can check him here. Oh, I can take his. I didn't see that. This knight is protected. He can't just take it with his queen. He can't put me in check with his queen either because. Okay, now I can do different things. I think best thing in this case right now is just put him in check. I don't want to waste a lot of time here. And then come over. See, this knight's protected by the bishop. This bishop's protected by this knight. I need to be careful. If he puts an attack on this bishop, I gotta move this bishop back right away because otherwise. Or I could do this. This is threatening checkmate. See, this threatens checkmate right down here, but he didn't fall for it. Once again, I gotta move that bishop back now. I'll just bring him all the way back. Now I could trade down. If I come up here with my knight, put him in check, he retakes there, I retake with my queen, and I'll be a piece ahead going into the end game. And I'm doing good on time. So all things equal, I'm supposed to win this game, but all things are not usually equal. That was weird. I'm just gonna come up here and see what happens. Check him with that. I might get in trouble here. But what can you do? Okay, this looks good. If I come up here, he'll lose a little bit of time thinking at least. If he takes the bishop like he was planning, it's going to be checkmate. Right there. So we finally won one. All right, so where's the chat, man? I got one viewer and no chat. We're static. I mean, that's what chess is all about. Should we try another one? I mean, we did win that one. Or should we do the play-by-play? Okay. My one chatter just told me by telepathy that she wants to see the play-by-play. So we'll go back here. We'll go to analysis board. This is what's really cool about Lichess. It's all for free. You click right down here. You see there, request a computer analysis. I'm gonna move this up just a little bit. So how can we do this to? Okay, I have to move this down a little bit. Okay, we'll just look. Oh, look. Look at the analysis. Black did very, very well. This is the black, if you've never seen this on Lichess before, how this works, but that's how black was doing. If it's on this line, it's even, like we're tying the game with even material, even position. But when the ball, this is the ball right there, you see the brown ball. When the brown ball drops down and makes this graph, if it drops down here, that means black is winning. And here you see the number there? You can see the number right up there, 11. That means I'm ahead by, 10 or 11 pawns, which is more than a queen ahead. As a kind of, and there it says mate in 7. And I didn't I didn't see the mate. That's normal though. It's hard to see mate in 7. There I got mate in 1, and I guess I found that. That was good. So let's go ahead. Oh, and this is the kind of like the big picture here. I had one blunder, 0 mistakes, and 2 inaccuracies. Inaccuracies are really no big deal. Like, I don't mind inaccuracies at all. They just kind of like make the other person more confused. But mistakes are pretty bad. And fortunately, I didn't have any mistakes. And I did have one blunder, but it was not the worst kind of blunder because you see when I put the mouse here, I hover the mouse. You see right over here, look over here when I put the mouse here. See? See right there? When I put the mouse there, you'll look over there now to the left and you'll see The blunder moved me from this low point up to that higher low point. I mean, that's actually, this for me is a high point because I'm black and so everything negative is to my favor. So I consider this like upside down mountains and that's my high point. And then this is also a high point, but it's a little bit lower. And the blunder put me from a very high low point to a slightly lower low point. Well, not slightly lower, it's almost halfway up to sea level. That's kind of like sea level up there. So, yeah, when you look at this, if you look at this like the ocean, in this game, it's amazing. I've never seen a game like this where white was not ahead at all. Um, everything's underwater here, but if you notice this as the ocean, these are underwater mountains. And then if white was winning somehow, you'd see some real mountains where you could walk up there in the air. And white had 4 inaccuracies, 3 mistakes, and 1 blunder. And the blunder was a bad blunder because look, it brought her from almost even to way down to minus 2.1. So let's click through this, shall we? I mean, maybe it's more interesting for my viewers to look at a chess post-mortem with using the engine and everything than just to watch another game of me losing or slightly winning somehow with luck. Um, anyway, let's take a look at this and see how this happened. And I always say, like for example, somebody like who are the big players in the world today? I mean, Bobby Fischer is gone, right? And Paul Morphy is gone. There's some really big ones now. Trying to remember. Well, you know who they are, but they're not looking at me on this channel. But if you're rated, let's say you're rated 1,000, 1,200, you might learn from somebody rated almost 1,900. I'm trying to break 1,900 tonight if possible. And let's just see how this game played out, shall we? So, okay, I click there and it puts me back to the starting position, and I'll give you the play-by-play, my little analysis here. Um, he's playing this kind of strange opening. That's a strange one. You don't see that very often. Usually they move one of these pawns in front of their king or their queen. Or sometimes they move this one too. But that one's pretty strange. And it's possible to move that, and that's a perfectly good opening. But it does open white up to some vicious attacks here with the queen. He needs to be very careful about that. But you see, I didn't go for any of those angles. I just moved my pawn up here to prevent him from moving this pawn up. And then he moved it up. And you see, minus 2.1. That was his one blunder. And that really was a blunder because when I take that, now he can always win that pawn back. It's hard for me to defend that pawn, but not so hard. I mean, look at the knight here. Now, just to help you to visualize this, when you have a knight defending a pawn, if that knight can be attacked by another pawn, then it's not a very good attacker. When you have a knight defending a pawn, it's not a very good defender. But this pawn can't advance and attack him. And if he moves this pawn up, I'll just take him with my bishop because this is looking pretty strong right there. And then he attacked the pawn another time. And then I defended the pawn another time. Now, what's cool about this is called the stockfish. And you need to know a little bit about the etymology of that name. Okay, stockfish. Why do they call it stockfish? And I'm not going to bullshit you about this because I really don't know why they call that stockfish, but I'm just going to imagine maybe this is just hypothesis, but it could be that like all of the pieces here they consider like fish in a pond. And you stock the fish when you set up the board, and then later, you're catching the fish by removing the pieces. And checkmate would be like landing the fish and putting it into a net. So it makes a lot of sense. And okay, so when I click here on the stockfish, it'll show the good move. So let's see if I played this correctly. Oh, no, I didn't play it correctly. It's according to the stockfish, I should have moved my bishop out to there. That would have been good. That would have attacked his queen, but instead I brought my bishop to there. And did you see? Look at this. It was 2.3. Now let's just experiment a little bit. If I moved it out there, the stockfish goes to minus 1.8. It was minus 2.4. So I actually lost a little bit by moving it there. And by moving it where I did, the stockfish says I gained. Did you see that? Look, minus 2.3. And then when I moved it here, I gained some. So it's kind of weird that the stockfish wants me to move out here where I dropped to 1.8 as opposed to moving here where I advanced to minus 2.4. I don't get that. I don't understand the stockfish, but the stockfish knows what it's doing. The stockfish can beat Hikaru, for example. Hikaru has been beat many, many, many times by stockfish. So then remember the queen, he brought his queen over here. I remember this during the game. And you see the big gray arrow? So the stockfish is telling me the move I made during the game. I think you will recall that I moved the bishop back. And to prove that, if I click right here, this actually shows what I did during the game. So I click there and I moved back. And now we're at minus 2.3. So I'm still doing very good. So if I click here, we'll see what white actually did. Oh no, look, now he's at minus 3.8. I'm going to click here so you can see what he should have done. He should have come back here where he was before. And then he gives me a chance to bring this out. But instead of doing that, oh, did I get confused here? Okay, let me see. Okay, so I didn't do that though. That's the confusing thing. I didn't do that. Oh, we're in this. I don't know why this happened. It's strange. We're in a strange. The computer is like putting us into this continuation that didn't really happen. See with my mouse, this never really happened. This is just a hypothetical continuation, which is, let's just say that's instructive because life is like that. The universe is like that. There's a lot of possibilities that never happen, but they might be real. Computers presenting these things like they were realities when they weren't. So let's go back to the real reality. So I moved my bishop when he. Okay, I'll recapitulate here. So he moved his knight out, attacking this pawn. Well, let's go right back to the beginning because otherwise you might get confused. So here's how the game really went. He did this weird opening. That's actually called the bird's opening. And it's not named after the animal, the bird. There was actually a guy named Bird that thought that that was a good opening, and seems like a good opening to me. Why not? It's just weird. Okay, so then I moved up there, so he couldn't do that, and he did that anyway, and then that was a blunder on his part. He attacked me with his knight, with his queen. I defended with the knight. He attacked again with the knight. I was supposed to come up here attacking his queen, because then you see his queen has to move. Suppose I did that. Where was his queen going to go? Okay, up here, so he still keeps the attack on the pawn. Yeah, and then I would come back here. That was interesting because I just went here directly. But according to the computer program, I can come up here and he move here and then I'm back to here. So instead of a position where my bishop is here and his queen is here, I'm in the same reality, so to speak, but my bishop is here and his queen is there. And Stockfish thinks that that's a little bit better. So, but that's not what I did. What I did is I came up to here because I defended that pawn. This is a very illustrious or illustrative opening. Let's look at this again. Okay, this is the bird's opening against the center pawn coming out, and then I took it. That's like some sort of a gambit. That must be some weird gambit based on the bird's opening. And instead of doing the book line, I went up to here, protecting the pawn, and then he came with the queen, and then I came back, and that's where he left the book. He came down here taking this pawn, and that was not good. And the Stockfish is showing the move that I made. I brought the knight back. He should have attacked this knight again. But even then, it wouldn't have been great because if he had done this, I'll just show how what would have happened. I attacked the queen because the rook is protected by the knight and the queen, so he needs to move the queen back to here. And then you see what I have? Right up there, attacking the queen. And he tries to come out of the whole picture by taking that. I take there. But the knight is still threatening this check against the king and the rook. But the queen can forestall that, or so she thinks, by moving that over there. And then I just contract my. This is called the family protection. The queen, the queen, the king, and the rook all hanging together. They're nestled together. And the knight out here still making the threat. And the queen cannot come back to here to defend because, see, I have the queen there. So there's no way to defend this pawn except if he moves his king over. So he would have to do that. And then I would just start developing a pace. Give me a break. Wow. Well, that's no big deal. Minus 2.4, which is good. which is good. But okay, let's go back to where we were. So click, 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 click. That's where we were. And I moved out there. He moved his queen back, which is a question mark because he's like really. And remember during the game I said, oh my god, I should have come up here, attacked his queen, and then put his king in check and then got the rook. Like everything was hinging right here on this knight coming up, attacking the queen. The queen moves anywhere. It can't move back here because the pawn is here. And it cannot move here because after I move the knight up here, the bishop is protecting the square. So if I had done this, it would have been, look at that, minus 6.4 already. Because then the queen comes here, and then I would come here, check. King comes over. I just grab off that nasty rook. No, he's probably going to win this knight. The knight's never going to escape from there, but I took his rook, and eventually he's going to get my knight, and that's good. That's a good exchange, a rook for a knight. That would have been already minus 6.7, but I saw that like, you saw during the game, I saw that like a half a second too late, which is always kind of what happens. And in the real game, what I did is, see, he moved his queen to rook to a6, and then I did this. And that, my friends, is a double question mark. And they're telling me here, we're always storing your variations in your broader sketch. Okay, that's great. Really don't like that note there because I want to see some more stuff here, but I don't want to clear my moves. I don't know what they're doing, trying to tell me to do here. Suppose I click this. Let's just see what happens. Nothing? Okay. Okay, so that's what happened. This is so weird. Okay, so I moved my pawn up to here, which is a double question mark. And being a double question mark, that was my big blunder. You see? That was the blunder we were talking about before. Right there. I put my mouse there and it shows the blunder there. So that's where I moved up from the abyss. And it was not a bad move according to this. And the queen came back there, and I was supposed to move my knight up here, attacking the queen, and I think I did that. Let's see. No, I went that way, which was also bad. Look, I was minus 3.3, and then I move up there, I'm down to 2.5. So I was making a lot of mistakes. I should have come up here, attacking the queen, and also keeping the knight more central. That the knight would, things are always better centralized. Now, a lot of beginners, and if you're watching me, you're probably a beginner because, like I said, Hikaru's not watching me. He's not a beginner. But if you're watching me and that's not bad. Okay, you're a beginner. So what? We're all beginners at some point. So let me explain this. We all know from the very basic theory of chess that pieces posted in the center are best. But why are they best? It's because consider the center like the top of a hill. It's a strategic point that two opposing armies want to control because from the center you can move this way, you can move that way, you can defend back this way, you can come back this way. You have more possibilities in the center. And that makes the center more important because chess is a game of possibilities. So you increase your possibilities by putting things in the center, And I instead made the kind of like a dumb move. I went over here to the side, and he came back here protecting this pawn. And now the computer says, Stockfish says I should bring my bishop out here. And if I do that, it looks like a really good move, because if I take this knight, he needs to retake with his rook, and then he loses his castling position. His castling prerogative, they call that on that side, his privilege. So you can't, if I came out here and took the knight, that would be excellent for me. And that's actually what I did. I clicked there, and that's what I did during the game. And he should have brought his pawn up to here. But I don't think he did that. He brought his pawn up here. Okay, so I clicked. He brought his pawn up to here. I should bring my knight back to here. That's what I did. I remember during the game I said, I bring my knight to here. If he takes, I retake with this pawn. And, I have pawn and pawn protecting each other. So that was really good for me. That was a bad move for him. Did you see the numbers? I just reversed it so you can see. So the knight was here. He's at minus 2.8. When the knight takes the knight, look what happens to the number up here. The knight takes the knight, it immediately goes to minus 4.1. Minus 4.0. So basically, black is now 4 pawns ahead. Wow, that was not bad. And, black has a lot of threats. And that was a horrible move. Look, minus 4.1, and then he moves to here, minus 7.9. Why? Why, you ask? Because you see this diagonal against the king? All these, it's like the knight moves up here, it's on this diagonal, the bishop is on the diagonal, the queen is going to can come up. Things are not looking good over there for white. And you see, according to the Stockfish, when the knight came there, it's showing black to move up there, and that's just what I did. You will remember during the game. I moved up there saying, okay, it's going to be checkmate. Because threatening checkmate, I wouldn't say it's good 100% of the time. Sometimes you threaten checkmate and you lose. Because it's really ridiculous. He has a really good response. And by threatening checkmate, you actually lose the game. That happens. But normally threatening checkmate is, all things equal, it's pretty good, because if he misses it, he loses the game. If he does something else, like in this case, when I move this knight up, suppose he was thinking, oh my god, I need to develop over here. Maybe I'll develop this bishop. I'll move this pawn up. And if he had moved that pawn up, this bishop comes down here. Boom. Do you see? If he had moved this pawn up, the bishop comes down here protected by the knight, and the king can't move because his pawn is here. So the king is checkmated. So it was really good. I think it basically saves white. White has 2 moves, actually 3 moves here, that save him from checkmate. He needs to give his king a flight square. So he needs to move this pawn to here, or he needs to move this knight to here, or I guess he could come back to here. So he has 4. Well, he could come over here or here. The knight can come different places, but not not all places are good because if he comes to here, I just take him. So in terms of realistic moves, White has very few. So I guess he did the right thing. Let me click here and see what he did. Yeah, you see, Stockfish is saying move the pawn up here. And during the game, I thought that was a mistake, but really it was what Stockfish was saying. The reason I thought it was a mistake is because when he moved this pawn up, this pawn can take en passant. Now, a lot of people, especially if you're really a kind of a rank beginner, and that doesn't mean you smell bad or anything. Rank doesn't mean, it's not a pejorative thing to be a rank beginner. You know what it actually means? It means that you're a beginner and you are beginning to achieve a rank, and it could eventually be a very high rank. But a rank beginner is just that. It's like somebody who's starting out and will someday be like Hikaru, but it's not there yet. So I thought it was strange that he moved up because I can retake here with the pawn. And the pawn here is threatening to take this pawn and threatening the queen. And at the same time, I still have the attack here. But of course, he gives his king a flight square. So that's what I did. I took the pawn en passant. Let me move back there because a lot of really the rank beginners don't understand this situation. A long time ago, pawns couldn't move two squares. They could only move one square. And then they introduced a rule where a pawn could move two squares because they wanted to speed up the game. They thought it would be good for the game. It's kind of like the 3-point shot in the NBA where they thought it would be good for the game. And they thought it would be good for the game to accelerate things because, in the beginning of the game, if you're just moving one and then one and then one and then one, and then they were already starting to understand the opening positions and everything, and they were saying, well, really, why don't we just move two? That's what we want to do. So they said, okay, we can move two. But then other people said, but if you move two, suppose you have a pawn here that could stop that pawn. And now you're moving him up two and just like bypassing that pawn. And that's not right. Why can you move him up two and not be taken on this square? So, lo and behold, the other people, who wanted to do this said, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so what we're going to do is you can move the pawn two, but if your opponent has a pawn here, so it's he can take him as though he had moved one. So that's what en passant is. It just means en passant is the word from French. For those of you who don't know French, like me, en passant means like in passing, in passing. So when the pawn moves up, trying to go past this pawn, boom, boom, boom. This pawn is here, whoop. This pawn, it has a lot of power, and this pawn is saying, you can't do that. You can't pass me. I'm going to take you en passant. So that's what my pawn did. Took him en passant, and it was really good because in this position, my knight here and my bishop here were still threatening a pretty good check on the king. The king can come to here, but that screws up. He can never castle. After that, you can't castle after moving your king. His king would be kind of like suspended there in the center, where my king would easily, boop, go over here castling with the rook here, and I would have had a really good game. And that's what en passant is all about. So that's what he did. He moved it up there, and then I took him en passant. I said, "Oh, wait a minute, and don't you're not going that far." and I took him, and then he retook with the queen. Oh, and then I did. Wait a minute. Wait. Let's see. I gotta click here. Do you see? I'm moving my cursor here where you can see it. So he moved up there. I moved there. Oh, he didn't take with his queen. He moved up there with his knight. That was not so great. He should have retaken with the queen, you see, because if, okay, I'm just going to go back to how it was. So he moved up. I took en passant. If he had retaken with his queen, he would have been at minus 7.6, which is not good, but it's a lot better than what he did because see how the pawn is threatening the knight, and then he moved his knight up here because it was threatened, but then I just took him with the bishop. So then I took him. So now if you look up here at the number minus 9.7, you can tell I'm really enjoying this. We're learning. Um, I'm kind of like the professor of one student, but that's cool. Um, he retook with the queen, and then the stockfish says I should move there. And what did I do? I did move there. Okay, so actually I remember talking about that during the game. So he's got different moves he can do. He can move here, here, or here. And he did the stockfish move. Now the stockfish says the bishop should come back immediately. And that would have been great. Now that I look at it, it would have been the best move because why? If the bishop comes back to here, it's protected by all the pawns. It's in a very safe position. It's unassailable by these pawns because even with one move, they cannot attack the bishop, which is way over here. But the bishop in this position is protecting this square for the knight. And if the knight moves up into this square, it checks the queen, I mean the king. The knight checks the king, the queen, and the rook. That's called a family check. So if I had been smarter, I would have brought the bishop back to there. But I didn't. I remember during the game I talked about this and I said, oh, I'll just castle. Oh, castle, because who knows why. I just made a stupid decision. Oh, I said I'll castle because the knight is protected by the bishop, and this bishop is protected by the knight, and in any case, I can always bring the bishop back. So instead of bringing the bishop back, oh my god, I brought the queen up to here because I was threatening the checkmate here. Now I remember. Okay, so the queen was going to come down here. I'm not Stockfish, and Stockfish is seeing everything from its bird's eye view, total logic, and I'm seeing things in terms of possibilities to win this game fast. And if he had done any stupid thing, whatever, if he had moved this pawn up or the rook or something, I would have come down here, boom, check. See the queen is going to threaten check. So he blocked it with the bishop. And now the stockfish says to bring the bishop. Oh, it was saying to bring the bishop. Oh, the stockfish is kind of like divided. At one point it says to bring the bishop back, and then a little while later it says to bring the rook over. So let's see what I did. Okay, I brought the bishop back. Holy crap, look at that. The stockfish is saying that the queen should take the knight. And if it does that, obviously the knight is protected. I'll just take the queen. So that's not a very good deal, losing a queen for a knight and a bishop. The queen is worth 9 normally, and knight is worth 3 normally. The bishop is worth 3 normally, so he loses 3 points. But the stockfish is saying do that because that's why I use the word normally. Like normally it's worth that much, but in this position, it's better to trade, according to Stockfish, the queen for the knight and the bishop. And you see how it's minus 10.4 that I'm winning here pretty good. So let's just see what happens here. Let's continue with this game. So the queen didn't do that, obviously. I mean, that's kind of like, give me a break. Instead, the king came up here. I don't know why he did that either. It's like, look at this. We're always storing your variations in your browser. I'm going to clear the moves again. I wish the Stockfish didn't do this because then it puts that thing and you can't see these squares. Okay, okay, let's just go back one move. So, I don't know if you remember this, but I don't know if I remember this. Anyway, so I castled, and then he came over there, and then I came over here threatening checkmate, and then he came there blocking the checkmate, and then I finally brought my bishop back, which was Stockfish was saying, and then Stockfish is saying take the knight, but that doesn't look like a good move. So the king came up, and then I check the king, because if the queen takes the bishop, the knight takes the bishop. Or actually, if the queen takes the bishop, the queen takes the queen. And he loses his queen for a bishop and puts, I put his king in check. Things don't look good for black. So he didn't take the bishop. He moved his king up in here. And now it's checkmate in 7. And that was a mistake. According to Stockfish, I should have come here. Okay. Whatever. Instead of -7, I got instead of checkmate in 7, I've got minus 12.4. Oh, that's interesting. Stockfish is saying bring the bishop over, I'm sorry, the rook over. And I would never have done that in a real game because what is this other rook going to do behind this pawn? Like move it up? I don't know. But I moved that rook over. And let's see how that changed. Let me just see how that changed. So, okay, I went back, and the king moves over. They're saying to bring the rook over, and it's minus 313. So, I actually lost a pawn by doing that. And they're saying take that to put him into a threat of checkmate, which I did, because if he takes this bishop, because that was a threat. If he takes the bishop, I take with the knight, and he wins. He gets a bishop and a knight for simply a bishop. So that was always a threat to take that bishop, and he took the bishop. He got greedy, and you see what Stockfish is saying, take the pawn, and that's what I did. Took the pawn, and that's checkmate. Why is that checkmate? Why is it checkmate? Why is the king all red? Because you see, he can't move. If he moves here, I take him with my queen. If he moves here, I take him with my queen. Or if he moves here, I take him with my rook. I can take him in any direction he goes. And when the king is taken, the game is over. And that's the weird thing about chess is that checkmate, it's all about taking the king, but you can never take the king. You can never take the king. That's what's so strange about chess. It's like the idea is to take the king and they don't let you take the king. And that's why it's addictive. It's an addictive game because they tell you, take the king, take the king. And then when you want to take the king, you can't because look what happened. I can't advance. I can't take the king. I can't take the king. That's the end of the game. That's it. We have to start another one. And that's why chess is addictive. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. And we'll see y'all tomorrow if it's possible. I'm going to sign off now. And I got the pizza guy at the door. The pizza guy is knocking for send me a pizza.